Okay, today we are going to be learning a very important lesson. The program we are watching is called Don't Kill Your Friends. All right, guys, don't kill your friends. And this was published all the way back in 1943. So I can only imagine what scenario specifically we are learning to not kill our friends in. So let's dive in and learn how to not kill your friends, shall we? Okay, yeah, there you go. That's the special surprise. The United States Navy training film. That's what we're watching today. Don't Kill Your Friends, produced by the United States Navy. This is a training film for soldiers on how not to kill other soldiers in your ranks with you. So this should be pretty interesting. I'm hoping there's some good information in here. I think even they knew this was kind of a funny suggestion. I mean, not really funny at all, considering it was actually a very real possibility, but it's just kind of funny to say, don't kill your friends. Like, there's humor in that phrase, even. Don't be a Dilbert. All right, you guys hear that? Don't be a Dilbert. Step one for not killing your friends is don't be a Dilbert. Beware of propellers. Oh gosh, is this just gonna be like different ways people in the army have died? I think it might be. Like, that's what you have to imagine, right? Every single like situation where somebody like tells you don't do this or somebody might die, like probably somebody did die doing that, and that's why we tell other people not to do that anymore. So we just have to be aware of the events that must have taken place in order for this to have been made in the first place, right?
Hey, fellas, get a load of this guy, Dilbert. I'd die laughing at that guy.
Get a load of this guy, Dilbert. I'd die laughing at that guy. Like, just, I don't know. There's something so funny about this dialogue.
He said it. He kills me. Say, who is this Dilbert anyway?
Say, who is this Dilbert anyway? Like, just the way they speak, man. It's so old-timey.
Who's Dilbert? Who's your hootie? He means he's not so much a name as he is a state of mind. That's right. You know
He's not a name so much as he is a state of mind. These American soldiers are getting into some pretty, like, deep philosophical questions about this Dilbert poster.
You know, essential routines, safety precautions. Don't mean a thing to Dilbert. I wonder if there really is a guy like that. What he looks like in real life. Sure,
That's so funny. I love how they're, establishing, like, the premise of this video for us.
sure, there's got to be somebody that looks like that. That's a laugh. Look like somebody. I can look like anybody.
I feel like I recognize this guy. Does this guy not ring a bell for anyone else's eyes? I feel like... was he in like Lewis and Clark or something? I feel like I recognize him from something. Please, somebody else. Like, do we? No, because this is a US Navy training film. This wouldn't be like an Encyclopedia Britannica actor or anything. So I just feel like this guy might just look familiar.
I got a million disguises. I'm a Dilbert.
Ensign Dilbert, I like that.
Don't look anything like my portrait, do I? That's how I get away with so much. Nobody can recognize me until it's too late. When are you Dilbert?
What a funny character. There are people in the US that are just like this kind of like weird awkwardness.
We're going to get wise to yourselves.
What do you mean? We're good for a lot of laughs, ain't we? We panic them. We're a very funny character.
That is funny. I just said that this is like a character.
Sure, when you're on a post.
That's funny. Did he just unzip his shirt just for a joke?
But in the air, you're just about as funny as a blast from a Jap Zero. One of these days, they're going to catch up with you.
Yeah, but in the air, you're just about as funny as a blast from a Jap Zero. That's okay, a very wartime specific phrase.
These days, they're going to catch up with you, wise guy.
Oh, yeah? They gotta find me first. And nobody has any ideas where to start looking. Well, just like that. I'm a pilot in Alaska.
Wow, that was actually a pretty impressive transition, I gotta say. So I think what he's really getting at by saying that like nobody can actually identify him is that you can't really recognize somebody is like not going to follow the rules until they do. Like you can't tell it's Dilbert until Dilbert is doing his Dilbert thing, I guess. I think that's the suggestion here, is that like every member of the armed services is capable of being a Dilbert if they just don't think about their actions properly. So I think that's what they're really trying to illustrate here.
And just like this, I'm a pilot at Guadalcanal. And just like that, I'm a pilot going on patrol.
Okay, so he's definitely a pilot, though. That's what I'm picking up on. He's a pilot in Alaska, or he's a pilot in wherever he just was, and now he's a pilot somewhere else.
But when I want to cause a lot of trouble, I monkey with guns.
All right, all right. But for the time being, let us get on with our safety precautions in fixed gunnery, will you?
Our safety precautions in fixed gunnery. All right, that's the thesis, I feel like. Safety precautions with fixed gunnery.
But for the time being, let us get on with our safety precautions in fixed gunnery, will you?
Safety precautions and fixed gunnery. Oh boy, that's my meat. Let me go. This is sabotage.
This actually is pretty funny. It's funny to know that the United States Navy invested in making their training programs funny. I don't know, like there is something to be said about that. I guess you're probably more likely to learn a lesson if you're engaged with the material, so maybe that's why they made it funny. It's funny to see the United States Navy's approved form of comedy even. All these jokes or all this behavior still had to be approved by like the US Navy for training purposes. So like every single joke or every funny thing that he does is just something that the Navy was fine with him showing so long as they could illustrate, you know, the proper way later. It's funny to see the actual sense of humor that the US Navy has, you know? Like that's pretty much what this is. We are getting a sample of the humor that they thought was acceptable for men of the armed service to be engaging in or laughing at while they watched training videos.
Before any pilot is released for fixed gunnery training, he must become familiar with his equipment, know how to handle it safely, both in the air and on the ground. Check on how many guns are loaded and the amount of ammunition in each container, and the number of charges required to load a
Dang,
line.
hang on. So this is the actual like machinery of the gun on the plane. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that we're getting to see it at least. It's not cool that it exists maybe, but it's cool that we're seeing it.
Live round. From the moment you accept a plane for flight until the plane is returned to the care of the ordnanceman, you are held responsible. So don't take anything for granted. All aircraft for gunnery training and fleet operations should have a firing checkoff list placed in full view of the pilot, a constant reminder of the steps that must be taken before starting to shoot. We must know that...
That's interesting how that was the checklist that pilots during World War II probably went through every time before they took to the skies.
The range is considered foul if there is the slightest chance of bullets shooting into populated...
This is an interesting shot as well. We're seeing a plane flying from above. So we're in another plane flying directly behind and above this plane. That's just like, that's a very complex shot for a training film produced by the US Navy. A lot of film technique being put into this. That's impressive. I didn't expect that sort of shot from a program like this.
areas, and that guns should never be charged while flying over areas like this.
So hang on, guns should never be charged when flying over an area like this. So would you have to charge a gun? I don't understand.
What do you say about that again? Wonder what'll happen if I do charge him.
Is this actor like a known comedic actor, or is this like an actual person in the US Navy? I'm curious. Did he just wonder to himself what would happen if he dropped a bomb on an American city? Like, what was that?
That's what can happen, addle-brain. Even a dummy cartridge can cause a tragedy.
A dummy cartridge. So that's what happened. They dropped a dummy cartridge as they charged the gun, and it just hit a bystander. I wonder if he really would die from that.
When the target is headed down the range at the prescribed altitude and you've decided that you're about ready to make your run...
When a target... What is that thing? What is that thing floating in the air with all these planes? It's like a huge cylinder. What is it? Is it just like a balloon?
Then you've decided that you're...
Is it like a bomb that's like slowly falling? I don't even know what I'm looking at in this image.
ready to make your run. Go over your checkoff list, item by item. Generator checked.
Interesting. All right, so we are going to go through the steps of checking to make sure your gun on your plane is going to function properly. That's interesting. I feel like that's that's going to send some people back maybe.
Mixture set automatic rich. Guns charged. Sight on.
Dang, there are actually so many steps to get your gun to be able to fire on this plane.
Master switch on. Selector switches on. Then look around.
I like that. Just then look around. Like after you've gotten your gun warmed up, now is the time to find an enemy.
If the range is foul, signal it as being such by zooming.
Is that what zooming is? Zooming is just dropping your plane and then rising it again? Is that an actual thing that pilots do to signal something to somebody else? I wonder.
Also, the tow pilot may notify the fighter group of a foul range by making S-turns. However, it's difficult for him to see below while flying level, so don't rely on him. Keep a sharp lookout yourself. Make safety your personal responsibility. When you're clear of the foul range and ready to resume, sight all the planes in your group to make sure you're in the clear. Then rock.
I feel like this is actually like technical information for a pilot. Like we are no longer just being entertained. Like this is like what the pilots needed to know in order to fly in formation properly. So it's interesting, but I feel like it doesn't really apply to me unless I go into the Air Force.
Your wings.
Are these shots real though? I think they are. I don't know though. It seems like they are. I don't know. I mean, obviously the shots of him in the cabin, that's like a set that's just on the ground. They're not actually flying. But the shots of all the planes in the air together, is that real?
Shift your eyes to the target and start your approach.
This shot has to be real for sure. But again, just think about that. Like, to set up that shot, you have to get the planes flying in formation, and then you need another plane to have the camera, and then you need to, like, choreograph how those planes are going to move without colliding with your plane. That's just a very complex maneuver they just pulled off. I mean, I guess it's the American Air Force. If anyone could do it back then, it was them. It's just like, that's a lot of effort that went into this program.
Stay out of the safety cone and never lose sight of the target at any time. But if you do, don't be a Dilbert and start looking for the target.
Don't be a Dilbert and start looking for the target. So if you lose the target, just let it be lost, I guess? Is that what they're saying? This thing is the target? What is this thing again? Like, I still don't know. This thing looks like how Army pilots or Navy pilots describe UFOs nowadays. Like, I have heard Air Force pilots describe UFOs as cylinders that move without justification for their movement. So, like, I don't know. I feel like that's exactly what I'm seeing here.
Clear and discontinue the approach. It's far better to make a fresh run than chance mowing down your friends while you hunt all over the sky for the sleeve.
Far better to make a first run than to mow down all your friends. So what we're really learning is how to like avoid shooting your friends in the air. I really thought this was going to be a training film on like just regular GI soldiers or whatever, but I guess this is specifically of how not to kill your friends while in the air. That's, I guess, just different than what I expected. Still important for all of you guys at home to know how not to kill your friends.
In making gunnery approaches, never forget there's a man in the tow plane. Around the end of the sleeve is an imaginary out-of-bounds area called the safety cone. Stay outside of the cone area when firing, and the man in the tow plane has nothing to worry about. But if you...
So you have a safety cone right in front of you? I don't quite understand this either. I feel like this really is information for a pilot now.
But if you drop low and allow yourself to be pulled too flat so that you fire into the cone, you run the risk of hitting the tow plane, perhaps even killing the pilot. As soon as you cease firing, shift your eyes from the target to the tow plane immediately.
As soon as you cease firing, shift your view from the tow plane. What? This is very complicated.
And keep it in view until you've passed underneath and are well clear. And after passing under the tow plane, locate the remainder of your flight and start back into position quickly.
Oh, interesting. So we're talking about flying in formation with a bunch of other planes, but you see somebody that you want to go and pursue, so you peel off from the group. This is how you like rejoin your own flight formation, it seems like, or at least that's what I'm picking up from this. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I think that's what we're talking about here.
Immediately after each firing run, make sure you go over the checkoff list again.
Because in order to fire, you need to break away from your group and go chase after the person that you want to shoot at, I guess. So, I don't know. It's very interesting.
This time, reversing the procedure followed when preparing for the run. Put the guns on safe. Selector switches off. Master switch off. And always remember, whenever you turn your switches or charge the guns, be sure your plane is pointing in the clear. Another fundamental rule is that the gunnery group must never make runs out of order. Always stay in your proper position. And
never make runs out of order. So interesting. We are learning like the very specific like order of operations these pilots need to go through in order to effectively patrol the skies. This is like a lot more complex than I imagined it would have been. I'm honestly like, I'm right here with Dilbert, kind of getting like glazed over in the eyes.
keep the planes ahead of you in view.
How come? What I gotta keep him in view for? Why don't you look out for me?
Well, Dilbert is now making up his own rules. This ought to be very interesting. Maybe we ought to stick around and see what happens.
What's gonna happen? Oh man, are we gonna watch like an actual aerial collision right now? Wow, okay, there you go. Special effects, dude. That looks exactly like the Death Star blowing up. Like that level of effect, the little explosion that they just put on top of it, that's so funny. That's, I think, the second week in a row that we've seen a very specific special effect take place, in the red at least. Yeah, that's so funny though. You can tell that that's a special effect. Obviously it's a special effect, but like the frame stops moving once that effect starts taking place. Like nothing, like that's a paused frame that they animated over. If you know like media production, you could definitely tell how they did that.
And you know, the remarkable thing about a Dilbert is that he's always sorry.
The remarkable thing about a Dilbert is that he's always sorry. See, that's pretty funny because, yeah, I guess the person who has always done something wrong will always apologize about it. I don't know. I don't know what they're getting at exactly with that.
He's always extremely sorry. And that makes the boys who still have to fly with him much happier. After all runs are completed and before you have left the range, double check to make sure your plane is ready to return to the field. Even though you might be certain that you've expended all ammunition, your guns must be put on safe.
Even though you're certain your guns have expended all ammunition. Is that really like what these pilots were doing, was just going and shooting every last bullet they had and then returning home? I'm curious now. It seems like that's the assumption that they're making on their return flights.
Normally the short safe or first position safe will be used. But should an occasion arise when the guns cannot be put on short safe, then the second position must be used. In the event that the stoppage is of a nature that neither safe can be used, be sure that the remainder of your checkoff list is completed before landing. Upon returning, stay in the cockpit until the ordnanceman arrives, making certain you tell him what's wrong with your equipment before he opens the gun cover plate. And be sure you park your plane in such a position that should your guns fire accidentally, no damage can result.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. Just make sure the gun is never pointing at people if it might fire at any moment. I feel like you wouldn't even be able to hear yourself whistling in a plane like this, especially back then. Like all the metal, I don't know. I feel like it would be so loud. Maybe I'm wrong, but like it's definitely not quiet enough to whistle like this and be heard.
I gotta practice up my whistling.
But But not Dilbert. No, sir. No rules for that character. He's so anxious to call his girlfriend that not only does he neglect to park his plane in the proper position for safety, he also forgets to tell his ordnanceman that something's wrong with the armament.
See, it's just so funny to even imagine a person like this being trusted in the military, right? Like, I feel like the military is so disciplined that, like, this guy just would not be given this task if we knew this about him. Like, obviously, this guy is a metaphor for everyone's tendencies to forget important things, but even still, it's hard to believe the premise of this when this guy is just such a goofball, you know? Like, did the military really tolerate characters like this? I doubt it. Like, were you allowed to be this funny and goofy all the time and still fly a plane? I don't know. I wouldn't trust a person like this to fly a plane.
Hey, lend me a nickel, will you? Boy, if I got a date, gotta make a phone call. Come on, will you hurry?
Yeah, like, wouldn't this guy just, like, report that to his superior and, like, wouldn't that be enough? I don't know, maybe not. But if you leave your guns on a plane, like, locked and loaded and just dip, like, I don't know. I feel like that is grounds for not flying a plane anymore. Geez, there you go. That's Dilbert's doing for you.
Gee, that's a tough break. But after all, it's not my fault. It's up to the ordnance men to take care of those things.
That's right, Dilbert. Always blame it on somebody else. But you are responsible for what's nothing less than cold-blooded murder. That man is just as dead as though he'd been killed by the enemy. But even with them, he'd at least have had a chance to fight back.
So they pretty much just said that it's worse to die from friendly fire than it is like dying in the glory of battle, which I guess is fair. Like, it is so lame to die from friendly fire, but I don't know. I wouldn't say that his life would have been better spent dying fighting the Nazis. Like, I don't think dying in general is like a good use of your life. But I guess the military probably views that a little differently.
And while we're on the subject of safety, the pilot who is towing the target has certain responsibilities too. After the target...
Oh, okay, now I get it. So that's the target. So, okay, so the flying cylinder is just a little thing attached to another plane. That's interesting. I did not see that earlier.
The target is streamed. He must bear in mind that the sleeve trails below his line of flight. For this reason, the tow plane must never go below the prescribed altitude after the sleeve is taken off. Be sure that all turns, climbs, and glides are shallow and smooth, or the tow line may become fouled in the tail. When in the vicinity of a flying field, the tow pilot must maintain a constant lookout for planes taking off or landing.
Oh man, I'm just looking at the numbers on this runway and I'm just thinking about the video that CGP Grey released recently about the numbers on runways. I can't actually remember what they mean. Is this at 340 degrees? Is that what that 3-4 means? If you've watched the video, you know these numbers signify something, but what exactly, I just can't remember. Somebody please tell me what these numbers on the runway mean. Funny though that they just let us watch the entire shot of this plane taking off, like all 10 or 20 seconds of it. Like, I don't know if that really added anything to the overall, educational value of the program, but I just watched it, so there you go.
And like the gunner who is responsible for his bullets, the tow pilot is responsible for where his target falls when released, making allowances for wind drift.
Interesting. So the tow pilot is the guy who's towing the target behind him, and he's responsible for letting this go at some point, which doesn't seem like that dangerous of a responsibility. It just seems like a parachute almost.
If the target cannot be released, A normal landing can easily be affected by landing long on the runway.
What does that mean, landing long on the runway? Does that just mean taking your time and going down in very small, slow increments, or does that have a very specific pilot meaning that I don't understand? Listen, I've sailed boats, but I've never flown a plane. I am really out of my area of expertise here.
Hey, the damn thing's stuck. Let me see now. Am I supposed to land long? I guess in the case, I guess I'm supposed to land short. Well, anyway, as soon as I get down, I'll ask somebody.
Of course,
That's funny. As soon as I get down there, I'll ask somebody. Like, I guess I would think something like that too. Like, it doesn't really matter this time, but next time I'll ask.
Dilbert type doesn't remember.
I feel like I would have been sort of like a Dilbert. You know, like I don't take things as seriously as I ought to take them. And I feel like I would not have functioned well in the Air Force, I guess.
And he also forgets to notify the control tower.
I think I would have had a lot of fun in the Navy, though. I don't know why. I just feel like being on a boat all the time sounds like a lot of fun.
As he makes a short instead of a long landing.
That was a crazy stunt, actually. Can we watch that again?
A long landing.
Hallelujah, I did it.
You did it all right. Just look behind you. By landing short when he should have landed long, Dilbert has shown how simple it is for the line and sleeve to decapitate someone.
Jeez, to decapitate someone. See, what I was thinking is if you landed short, that thing might just become caught in like something on the ground and like rip the plane away or something. Like, I feel like that's more dangerous than killing somebody. It's just like the plane getting snagged on something. I don't know though.
You have seen the right and wrong methods of ensuring safety in fixed gunnery. From the first time you fly a plane equipped with fixed guns, always remember that the lives of your shipmates, as well as your own life, depends on sticking to the rules. Every day, more and more of you are shoving off for combat duty.
Every day, more and more of you are shoving off for combat duty. Like, just let that sink in for a minute. At the time this was being made, the U.S. was actively involving itself in World War II. Like, this was the beginning of the U.S. involvement. So it's interesting to hear those sorts of phrases.
In every part of the globe, to the South Pacific.
I'm going there.
Europe. And you're going aboard aircraft carriers.
Carriers? I'm going on all the carriers, too.
We'd really like to give this picture a happy ending. We'd like to get rid of the...
Oh man, it's gonna cut to him as the poster again, isn't it? It's gonna like smash cut to him as the poster child of being an idiot in the army.
The villain. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it.
Maybe not. Maybe I just guessed that.
You're the only one who...
Oh no, it is, yeah. Okay.
...can. Dilbert is your responsibility.
Well, so long, suckers. I'll be seeing you.
And he will, too, unless you make safety a habit.
That's so funny. Like, were there really people who would say the stuff like that? Like, so long, suckers. Like, I guess that is a very, like, rambunctious American thing to say.
Don't be a Dilbert. Don't kill your friends.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Don't kill your friends. Cue the music. The end. The Bureau of Aeronautics. Interesting. All right, well, that was Don't Kill Your Friends. That was kind of a fun journey. It's definitely very interesting to see the videos that the U.S. Army used to train people who fought in World War II. Like, isn't that wild? Like, our grandfathers, maybe our great-grandfathers, some of them at least, watched this. Some of our grandfathers didn't die because some of our other grandfathers watched this. This actually might have saved some people's lives who actually affected your life. I don't know, that's always what I think about when I watch this sort of stuff, is like, these people are just the ancestors of the people who exist now in this country. So like if we saved these people's lives, then they went on to create someone who might be watching now. So it always kind of feels like coming full circle watching something like this. Like whatever they were trying to do to improve the future, we are now experiencing the improved future that they attempted to create. So I always appreciate that. I don't think this was actually very useful for like my day-to-day life. I can't imagine a way that I would apply any of these lessons. I mean, you know what? Maybe I'll just tell myself, don't be a Dilbert. I think that's enough. I think that is really the main takeaway, that all of you, even if you don't serve in the US Air Force, I think we can all learn to don't be like Dilbert. I think that's like a universally applicable sentiment right there. Yeah, more than anything, the moral of this story is just don't be a dumbass, really. Like I know his name is Dilbert, but you might as well have called him dumbass. Like that's really what they were trying to communicate with his character, is this is just some dumbass who's not going to listen and he's going to get some people killed because of it. And I feel like they being the US Navy did effectively communicate that being a dumbass can get people killed. I feel like that was the necessary lesson that people actually didn't have when they signed up for the Army, is that you could make a mistake and it could kill a whole bunch of people. So I get why the US invested in making programs like this. Obviously it makes sense to train your soldiers to not kill each other, but especially with flying, I feel like there was just so much to figure out, and we had to do it so fast in order to combat the Nazis that I guess I understand why they needed programs like this. And I also understand how pilots were making mistakes. Now I understand that leaving the gun loaded isn't as simple as just not, pressing a button. Like there were 10 different levers that guy had to pull. And they even acknowledged that like half the time, some of those levers just wouldn't work for some reason. So I guess I get where they're coming from on this. Yeah, I don't really have any way of applying this to my real life, but yeah, I guess the main lesson is just don't be a Dilbert. Can you all do that for me? None of you, please. I don't want to see a single one of you being a Dilbert, all right? Please, make the promise to me, don't be a Dilbert. And with that, I think we're done. If you enjoyed watching and would like to help support what I do here, you can follow the link in the description that'll take you over to the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is where I get all these old programs from. So if you want to support me, donate to them. And with that, I think we're ready to cut to black.